Excuses don't always come dressed like enemies. Sometimes they come wearing a friendly face. They sound calm, rational, even comforting. They tell you it's okay to wait, it's okay to pause, it's okay to play it safe. They convince you that you're protecting yourself, but in truth, they're stealing from you, quietly, silently, without making a sound. They take pieces of your dream, pieces of your passion, and before you realize it, they've taken your fire. You wake up one day and wonder where the hunger went, where the spark went, where the drive to fight for what you wanted disappeared to. That's what excuses do. They drain you from the inside out. Some people think the biggest battles are fought in the world, but the real war is in the mind. It's that constant tug-of war between who you are and who you could be. One voice says, go after it, and the other says, what if you fail? One says, you've got everything it takes, and the other says, you're not ready. Every time you choose that second voice, an excuse wins. Every time you let doubt sit at the table of your thoughts, it eats away at your potential. And the dangerous part is, excuses are subtle. They sound reasonable. They hide behind logic. You tell yourself, I'll start when I have more time. I'll do it when the situation is better. I just need to feel ready. But here's the truth. Time doesn't make you ready. Action does. Waiting for the perfect conditions is like waiting for a storm to apologize before it rains. Life doesn't work like that. You're supposed to build your purpose in the middle of the storm, not after it's gone. Excuses will whisper that you're too young, too old, too inexperienced, too late. They'll convince you that other people have it easier, that someone else got the opportunity you were supposed to have. They'll tell you that you're just unlucky, and that's why you're behind. But every excuse you accept becomes a brick in the wall that separates you from what's possible. And you don't even realize you're building that wall because it feels like you're being smart, being cautious, being realistic. But sometimes realistic is just another word for scared. Think about how many dreams have died because someone said maybe later. How many ideas were buried because someone decided it's not the right time. The graveyard is full of potential. Books never written, songs never sung, visions never brought to life, all because of one thing, excuses. You can recover from failure, but you can't recover from the things you never even tried. You see, excuses love to keep you comfortable. They'll tell you that you've done enough. They'll make you settle for almost successful, almost happy, almost free, but almost doesn't fulfill destiny. Almost doesn't satisfy the soul. Almost is a lie that keeps you standing in the doorway of your purpose, but never stepping through it. When you live with excuses, you begin to lose your edge. You start accepting mediocrity as normal. You stop challenging yourself, you stop stretching your faith, and before long you're living below your potential and calling it peace. But there is no peace in knowing you could have done more. There is no peace in realizing you settled for comfort when you were built for greatness. Excuses are thieves disguised as friends. They don't break in with noise. They wait for you to invite them in. They come when you're tired, when you're hurt, when you're disappointed. They whisper, you've been through enough, just rest. But sometimes resting turns into quitting, and quitting becomes a habit that feels like peace. You've got to know the difference between rest and retreat. Rest restores you. Retreat removes you from the fight. You have to get bold enough to call your excuses out. You have to stand in front of the mirror and confront the lies you've told yourself. I don't have time. You do. I don't have help. You can start alone. I don't have the right tools. You can build with what's in your hands. The moment you stop giving power to those excuses is the moment your life starts to change. Every great comeback begins with honesty. You can't conquer what you keep excusing. You've got to look at that situation and say, yes, it's hard, but it's not impossible. You've got to tell yourself, I'm done explaining why I'm stuck. I'm ready to move. The moment you decide that, life starts responding differently to you. Opportunities begin to appear because they always existed. You just couldn't see them behind your excuses. So I'm asking you right now, what has your excuse been stealing from you? Is it your peace, your focus? Your calling, don't let it keep robbing you. Don't let another day pass where you justify what's keeping you small. You owe it to yourself to break free, and when you start pushing past your excuses, you'll feel resistance. You'll feel the pull to fall back into old patterns. That's when you push harder. That's when you remind yourself, I'm not going back. Because the truth is, you can't move forward and hold on to excuses at the same time. One has to die for the other to live. You've got to make a decision tonight. No more silent thieves. No more logic that limits. No more comfort that kills. You've got too much purpose, too much life ahead of you to keep standing still. If you're watching this right now, I want you to stop scrolling, stop drifting, stop doubting, and declare right here, right now, I'm done with excuses. Write it, say it, feel it, because that decision, that moment of honesty, might just be the beginning of your breakthrough. Someday, that word has killed more dreams than failure ever has. It sounds harmless, doesn't it? It sounds hopeful. It sounds like patience, like wisdom, like planning. But behind that one word hides the most dangerous lie you can ever tell yourself. Because when you say someday, what you're really saying is not today. You're pushing destiny to a date that never comes. You're waiting for the clouds to part, for the signs to align, for the moment to feel just right. But let me tell you something, the right time never comes, the perfect conditions never appear. There's no magic day when fear leaves and faith automatically takes over. Life doesn't wait for you to feel ready. Opportunities don't wait until your schedule clears up or your confidence rises. They show up disguised as challenges, disguised as risk, disguised as uncertainty. And if you're too busy waiting for the stars to line up, you'll miss the very moment that was meant to change your life. Too many people are standing still, waiting for the calendar to validate their calling, waiting for a sign, waiting for permission, waiting for someone to tell them, now is the time. But the truth is, you've already been given the time. It's called today. You say, when things calm down, I'll focus. When I have more money, I'll start. When I'm not so tired, I'll move. But every time you say when, you're building another layer of delay. Life keeps moving, seasons keep shifting, and before you know it, the chance you had has faded. You see, someday is a comfortable excuse because it sounds responsible. It feels like you're planning, like you're preparing, but deep down, it's fear wearing a mask. It's fear saying, I need more time, when time is the one thing you can never get back. Every dream deferred by someday begins to lose its fire. What started as a passion turns into a wish. What was once alive in your heart becomes a faint memory of what could have been. You start telling yourself that maybe it wasn't meant to happen. Maybe it wasn't for you, but the truth is, it was always meant for you. You just kept postponing your purpose. You can't keep saying someday and expect your destiny to wait patiently on the shelf. Purpose gets restless when ignored. It starts to ache inside you. It shows up in your frustration, your boredom, that constant sense that something's missing. That's not emptiness. That's your calling knocking, asking, when will you stop waiting? So many people are living like they have endless tomorrows. They say they'll take the step tomorrow, make the call tomorrow, write the plan tomorrow. But one day, the calendar runs out of tomorrows. The greatest deception, the enemy of your potential uses, is time, convincing you that you have more of it than you do. The most dangerous word isn't no. It's later, because later makes you think you're still in control when really you're surrendering control to procrastination. You've got to stop treating your dream like it's optional. Stop treating your growth like it's a hobby. You've been waiting for a moment that's already here. The fear you feel won't go away when the timing is better. It goes away when you decide to move anyway. Faith doesn't wait for comfort. It walks in uncertainty. You keep saying you're waiting on a sign, but the fact that your dream still burns inside you is the sign. That passion that won't leave you alone, that vision that keeps coming back, that's life trying to tell you it's time. There will always be a reason to wait. There will always be something unfinished, something imperfect, something not quite ready. But if you wait for everything to be perfect, you'll spend your whole life waiting. The truth is, progress happens while things are messy. Growth happens in motion, not in hesitation. You learn by stepping, not by standing. You figure it out on the way. The people who rise aren't the ones who have it all figured out. They're the ones who move despite not knowing everything. You've got to stop living in the illusion of someday. Someday it won't save you. Someday it won't push you. Someday it won't pay your bills, build your dream, or change your life. Only today has the power to do that. The clock is ticking. The opportunity is alive right now. You're not running out of dreams. We're running out of time to act on them. You think you're waiting for the right time, but what if time's been waiting for you to wake up? What if everything you've been praying for is standing just outside the door, but the door only opens when you move? What if your delay is the only thing standing between you and your breakthrough? You've got to stop postponing your power. You've got to stop playing small in the name of being cautious. The world doesn't reward hesitation. It rewards execution. If you could see how close you are, how near the miracle is, you wouldn't waste another second waiting for someday. You'd start moving right now with what you have where you are. You'd take the small step. You'd make the uncomfortable call. You'd show up when your fear tells you to hide, because the dream doesn't respond to talk, it responds to movement. So, don't wait for perfect. Don't wait for ready. Don't wait for tomorrow. Start right now. Take one step. Make one move. Speak one word of faith. And watch how the doors begin to open. The future doesn't belong to the ones who plan to act. It belongs to the ones who act now. Fear is a quiet liar. It doesn't scream, it whispers. It doesn't shove you backward. It holds you still. It tells you stories that sound true, stories that make sense, stories that make you believe that staying where you are is safer than moving forward. Fear will never show up wearing danger signs. It'll show up dressed like caution, dressed like logic, dressed like wisdom. It'll make you believe that hesitation is strategy when it's really sabotage. And the truth is, fear and excuses go hand in hand. They walk together. One creates the reason, and the other gives you permission to believe it. Fear says you might fail. The excuse says that's why I shouldn't try. Fear says they'll judge you. The excuse says I don't want the attention anyway. Fear says you're not ready. The excuse says I'll start when I am. It's a partnership that's been keeping people stuck for generations. It doesn't matter how talented you are, how intelligent, how called, how chosen. If fear runs your decisions, excuses will manage your destiny. The thing about fear is, it's not just about being afraid of falling. Sometimes you're afraid of rising, afraid of the pressure that comes with success, afraid of what happens when people expect more from you, afraid that the version of you you're becoming will cost you relationships, comfort, or control. So instead of stepping forward, you stand still. You hide behind the familiar. You convince yourself that stability is peace, when really, it's just fear pretending to protect you. I've seen people pray for change and then run from the very opportunity that could bring it. They pray for doors to open, but when the door opens, fear whispers, "You're not qualified." And they step back. They pray for growth, but when growth requires stretching, fear whispers, "You'll break." And they retreat. Fear loves to sound like reason. It'll use your past as evidence, your failures as proof, your insecurities as ammunition. It'll remind you of every time you tried and didn't make it, every time you stepped out and got hurt. And if you're not careful, it'll make you think the pain of your past is prophecy for your future. But fear is a liar. It predicts outcomes it has no authority to confirm. It paints pictures that never happen. It tells you that stepping forward will destroy you when standing still is what's really killing you. Fear feeds on your imagination. It survives off of what if. What if I fail? What if I'm not enough? What if they laugh? But have you ever asked yourself, what if I win? What if I succeed? What if I finally break through? What if this time it actually works? You see, fear is powerful only when you feed it the wrong questions. Every time you entertain fear, you strengthen it. Every time you speak its language, it grows louder. You can't conquer what you keep conversing with. You can't silence fear if you keep giving it the microphone. You have to stop negotiating with your doubt. You have to stop letting fear rewrite your story before you've even lived it. There's courage in moving even when you're trembling. There's power in walking even when your knees shake. Because courage isn't the absence of fear, it's the decision to move despite it. The most dangerous thing about fear is that it hides behind comfort. It convinces you that playing it safe is wisdom, that staying where you are is peace. But peace without purpose is just quiet misery, and you can't live a life of meaning while running from the very thing that was meant to shape you. Fear doesn't just stop you from failing, it stops you from flying. It stops you from discovering the version of yourself that only exists on the other side of risk. When you decide to confront fear, you'll feel resistance. You'll hear that voice saying, "Don't go." That's when you have to remind yourself, fear is not a command, it's a suggestion. You don't have to listen to it. You don't have to bow to it. Fear may knock on the door, but it doesn't get to live in your house. The moment you stop answering, it starts losing power. Fear thrives in darkness, in silence, in hesitation. But the moment you expose it to action, when you take that step, when you make that call, when you start that thing, it begins to fade because fear can't survive in motion. It loses its grip when you move forward anyway. Some of you have let fear talk you out of blessings that already had your name on them. You've let it convince you that you're not enough, that it's too late, that the risk is too big. But fear isn't there to protect you. It's there to test you. It's asking one question: how badly do you want it? Every time you push through, every time you move in faith instead of fear, you prove to yourself that you're stronger than the voice trying to hold you back. You can't build a future if you keep bowing to fear. You can't walk in purpose while holding hands with excuses. You've got to break that agreement. You've got to decide that even if you're scared, you'll still move. Because fear doesn't disappear before you start. It disappears as you move. If you're hearing this right now, don't let fear make another decision for you. Don't let it silence your vision. Don't let it delay your purpose. Stand up inside yourself and say, "No more." I dare you to type it, speak it, declare it right now, asterisk, "I will not let fear lead my life anymore." Asterisk, because the moment you say that and mean it, that's when everything begins to shift in your favor. Every time you tell yourself a reason why you can't, you lay another brick. Every time you say, "I'm not ready," "It's not my time," "I don't have enough," you lift another stone and place it in front of you. You don't notice it at first because excuses are small. They seem harmless, but over time those reasons stack up, and before you know it, you're standing behind a wall so tall you can barely see over it. You didn't even realize you built it. You thought you were protecting yourself, but all you really did was block your own view. That's what excuses do. They build barriers disguised as safety. It's one thing when life puts up walls. It's another when we build them ourselves. When pain hits, when disappointment hits, when failure hits, we start constructing defenses around our hearts and minds. We tell ourselves, I'm just being careful. But sometimes what we call protection is really isolation. You can't build greatness behind a wall of excuses. You can't reach the world if you keep hiding behind reasons why you can't. Every excuse is a brick, and every brick takes you one step further from what's meant for you. People love to say, if it's meant to be, it'll happen. No, that's not how it works. You can't sit behind the wall and expect the promise to climb over it. You've got to tear it down. The opportunity won't fight through your excuses to find you. You've got to meet it halfway. The wall won't fall by chance. It falls when you decide you're done being your own barrier. Some of you have been praying for breakthrough, but God can't deliver what you're blocking. You've built a wall of doubt, a wall of fear, a wall of regret, a wall of comparison, and then you wonder why blessings can't reach you. You're praying for sunlight, but you're standing in your own shadow. You've been waiting for something to change on the outside, but the real work starts within. The hardest wall to tear down is the one you built yourself. You've got to be honest about what's standing in your way. Sometimes it's not your past. Sometimes it's not your family. Sometimes it's not even the system. It's you. It's your mindset, your hesitation, your excuses. The moment you admit that, everything shifts. Because you can't fix what you won't face. And when you finally face that wall, when you finally say, I built this, that's when you start to see the cracks appear, because ownership always weakens the wall. Think about how many times you've said, I can't because. That phrase alone has built fortresses. I can't because I failed before. I can't because I don't have enough. I can't because I don't know how. Each one sounds harmless until you realize they're forming layers of limitation around your life. And the longer you repeat them, the thicker that wall becomes. But the same way you built it, you can tear it down. Word by word, thought by thought, action by action. There's something powerful about deciding, I'm not going to be my own obstacle anymore. Because once you make that choice, your energy shifts. You stop wasting time explaining why you're stuck, and you start finding ways to move. You stop saying, I can't, and you start asking, how can I? That one change in mindset starts swinging a hammer at that wall. You might not break it all at once, but every strike matters. Every small act of courage is a crack in the barrier that's been holding you back. Sometimes the hardest part of growth is realizing that no one else is responsible for breaking the wall but you. You can have support, you can have faith, but no one can make the decision for you. You've got to get tired enough of being stuck. You've got to get angry enough at the excuses that stole your years, your confidence, your opportunities. Because the moment you get fed up enough to say, enough is enough, you start to move differently. You stop waiting for permission and start taking authority over your own life. And let me tell you something, once you start tearing down that wall, you'll feel uncomfortable. You'll see pieces of yourself you buried under years of maybe later. But don't be afraid of that discomfort. It's proof that you're growing. You'll see fear, doubt, and disappointment, but right behind them is freedom. Once the wall starts falling, light begins to pour in. You start to see the dream again, You start to feel the fire again. You realize the view on the other side was always there. You just couldn't see it because you were standing behind your excuses. You can't change what you refuse to confront. You can't reach what you refuse to move toward. Stop blaming the world for the walls you built. Start swinging. Start climbing. Start believing that your future is worth the fight. There comes a point when you've got to stop blaming and start owning. You can't heal what you keep handing off to somebody else. You can't grow from what you keep excusing. Ownership is not about taking blame, it's about taking power. It's saying, I may not have caused everything that happened to me, but I'm responsible for how I respond. That's the difference between being stuck and being strong. Because when you own your life, you stop waiting for rescue and start building your own freedom. We live in a world that teaches people how to point fingers. It's easier to say, they hurt me, they left me, they didn't support me, they didn't understand me. But the truth is, people will always be people. Some will help, some will hinder, some will hurt, and some will walk away. But none of that can stop your purpose unless you give it permission to. The danger comes when you let someone else's actions become your excuse to stand still. When you say, I can't move forward because of what they did, you're giving away your power. You're letting their choice define your destiny. Ownership is about taking that power back. It's standing in the mirror and saying, yes, I've been broken, but I'm still here. It's saying, yes, they left, but I'm still breathing. Yes, life hit me hard, but I'm not done yet. When you own your story, your pain loses its ability to control you, because you're no longer a victim of what happened. You're the author of what's next. Some people keep waiting for closure, but closure doesn't always come with an apology. Sometimes closure comes when you decide to move on without one. You can't keep replaying the hurt, can't keep rehearsing the betrayal, can't keep sitting in the ashes of what went wrong. You have to make peace with it and move. Ownership means saying, this happened, it hurt, but it won't define me. Because your past may explain you, but it doesn't have to limit you. When you take ownership, your language changes. You stop saying, they made me angry, and start saying, I let that affect me. You stop saying, they wasted my time, and start saying, I gave my time where it wasn't valued. You stop saying, they ruined my dream, and start saying, I let their opinions silence me. That's not self-blame, that's self-awareness, because the moment you recognize your own power in the situation, you also recognize your power to change it. When you own your life, you take control of your emotions, your time, your attitude, your effort. You stop being reactive and start being intentional. You realize that nobody else is responsible for your peace, your joy, your focus, your growth. It's on you, and that's not a burden, it's freedom. Because if it's on you, that means you don't have to wait on anyone else to fix it. You can fix it yourself. Some people spend years waiting for life to be fair, but life isn't fair, it's faithful. It gives back what you put in. It responds to your ownership. When you give half effort, you get half results. When you show up fully, life starts showing up for you. You can't expect full blessings with partial responsibility. You've got to take full ownership of your habits, your mindset, your discipline, your faith. You can't pray for growth while excusing the things that keep you small. Sometimes taking ownership means confronting the hard truth that you've been the one holding yourself back. Not your friends, not your past, not the system. You. It takes humility to admit that. It takes courage to say, I could have done more. I should have been more consistent. I let fear talk me out of it. But that's where transformation starts, because the moment you stop hiding behind excuses, you open the door for elevation. You can't fix what you won't face, and you can't grow from what you won't own. So own it all. The mistakes, the missteps, the missed chances. Own them, learn from them, and use them. Every time you take responsibility, you're taking territory. Every time you say, "That's on me," you're gaining strength, because accountability is not punishment, it's empowerment. It means you're strong enough to say, "If I can mess it up, I can fix it too." The most successful people aren't the ones who never fall. They're the ones who refuse to blame the ground. They fall, they get up, they learn, and they move. You've got to stop asking life to change while you stay the same. Ownership means you stop waiting for better days and start creating them. You stop waiting for motivation and start showing up anyway. You stop saying one day and start saying today. When you take ownership, you move from wishing to working, from talking to taking action, from hoping things get better to making them better. You realize that the power to change your life has been in your hands all along. Nobody can give you that. Nobody can take it away. You've got to understand something deep. Discipline isn't punishment, it's protection. Discipline guards your purpose from destruction. It keeps your dream alive when the excitement fades. Because there will come a day when motivation runs out, when emotions shift, when energy is low, and when you feel like giving up. That's when discipline has to step in and say, "I don't feel like it, but I'm doing it anyway." You can't build greatness off of feelings, you build it off of consistency. Too many people want results but don't want the routine that produces them. They want the crown but not the cross. They want the promise but not the process. But life doesn't reward what you want. It rewards what you work for. Discipline is what separates dreamers from doers, talkers from transformers. Anybody can start strong. Few can stay steady. That's why discipline is rare. It's not emotional, it's intentional. You see, when you're disciplined, you stop negotiating with your excuses. You stop telling yourself, "I'll do it later. I'll start next week. I'll wait until I feel ready," because you'll never feel fully ready. Discipline doesn't wait for perfect conditions. It creates them. It says, "I'm showing up even when it's uncomfortable." That's how you grow. Growth never happens in convenience. It happens in commitment. Discipline teaches you how to master yourself. It's the muscle of control, the ability to say no to what's easy and yes to what's necessary. It's not about denying yourself joy. It's about protecting your focus. Because if you don't control your habits will control you. If you don't direct your time, distractions will consume it. Every day, life is testing your focus, testing your endurance, testing your will. And discipline is how you pass those tests. Let me tell you something. You can pray all you want, believe all you want, and dream all you want. But if you're not disciplined, you're not ready. Faith without works is just potential waiting to die. You've got to match your faith with effort. When you pray for open doors, you better also prepare yourself to walk through them. Discipline is the bridge between your desire and your destiny. You can't skip that bridge. You've got to cross it, one consistent step at a time. Discipline also builds confidence. When you keep the promises you make to yourself, you start to believe in your own word. You stop needing validation because you've proven to yourself that you can be trusted. That's the quiet confidence of a disciplined person. You wake up, you do the work, you stay focused, and you move in silence. You're not trying to impress anybody. You're preparing for everything. Most people quit because they expect instant results. But discipline knows that small steps still move mountains. It's not about speed, it's about direction. You might not see progress right away, but that doesn't mean it's not working. You don't plant a seed and dig it up every day to check if it's growing. You water it, you wait, you trust the process. That's discipline. Faith in motion. And sometimes discipline hurts. It will stretch you, humble you, and test every bit of your patience. But that's how strength is formed. Diamonds aren't made in comfort. They're made under pressure. If you're uncomfortable, it means you're being refined. Discipline is the fire that burns off your weaknesses and sharpens your edge. You can't run from it. You've got to embrace it. You've got to train your mind to push through when your body says stop. Train your faith to hold steady when your fear screams loud. Train your spirit to stay anchored when everything around you shakes. That's what discipline does. It builds endurance for the storms that try to take you down. Because when the storm hits, it's too late to build a foundation. You prepare before it comes. You stay ready. You've got to be so disciplined that your future self thanks your present self, that your consistency today becomes your success tomorrow. Every time you resist temptation, every time you push through fatigue, every time you choose focus over comfort, you're making a deposit into your destiny. Don't rob your future because you got lazy in the present. The price of discipline might sting today, but the cost of regret will hurt forever. You are never too far gone to build discipline. Start small. Start where you are. Set a standard for yourself and keep it, even when no one's watching. Especially when no one's watching, because that's where character is formed. In the unseen moments, when you can trust yourself in private, life will trust you with opportunities in public. Discipline is the silent architect of every great life. It's what turns your someday into today. It's what turns chaos into structure, potential into progress, and intention into impact. So stop waiting for motivation to find you. Create it through your actions. Move with purpose. Stay consistent. And if you're feeling this right now, if something in your spirit is saying, it's time, then say it out loud. Type it. Declare it. Own it. Asterisk. I'm choosing discipline over excuses. Asterisk, because the moment you do, that's when your life starts to shift.